Okay.
We did Mexico's war on crime. So the problem is basically that the Mexican government is fighting with, most of the problem is that the Mexican government is fighting with the drug cartels, and they're trying to get, the drug cartels are mainly trying to get drugs into America, and they're fighting with each other. And if this problem continues, it'll be really bad because it'll create a lot more violence than there already is. And it will really be bad, and because they'll be, if they don't fix it, then the cartels will take control of the state.
So the cartels were very influenced, and it started increasing in the 1990s, and because of all the violence, the government had to start interfering in 2006. So the president, Felipe Calderon, who took office in 2006, was the president that initiated the declaration of war on drugs, and he used military force against the cartels. And so it can be seen in both of these graphs right here, where the red part in this graph represents drug-related homicides, where in the early 2000s there used to be a pretty much steady and constant rate of homicides. And then after the declaration of war on drugs, there was a dramatic increase in the rate of homicides. So his approach did not seem to really work because it only increased the rate of homicides. And then, so he was mainly focused on dismantling the power from the cartels. And then in 2012, when President Enrique Peña Nieto took office, he tried to move the focus towards more curbing the kidnappings and extortions and other violent crimes that affect the Mexicans on a daily basis. And so you can see in this graph here where the bottom represents more peaceful and the top represents less peaceful, where after President Enrique Peña Nieto took office in 2012, there was an increase in overall peace. So when he took office, the rate of homicides did decline. However, the rate of kidnappings increased. So both of the president's approaches to the problem pretty much backfired on them. And also during President Nieto's time in office, there were several high-profile captures of some powerful drug lords, but it did not have the desired effect and did nothing to really weaken or demoralize the cartels.
There are two major cartels in Mexico, the Sinaloa cartel and the Los Zetas cartel, and they are on the map. They're the blue and the red.
The Mexican government is basically just fighting the cartels, and they're bringing all this violence to the cartels, so they want to try to stop that. And the cartels, are fighting each other for the control of the drug smuggling routes to the U.S.
So, we are the largest consumers of cocaine and other illegal drugs, so it is all the cartel's main goals to control the trade routes to us because we are where they gain the most profit. So, because of this, the violence has spread into the United States, mainly along the border states of Arizona, Texas, and California. And there's so much so that Texas has called on the National Guard to come and protect them along the border. And we have increased our border patrol since the beginning of the war, and it has hindered the cartel's efforts, but it hasn't stopped them.
By the numbers, 90% of cocaine that enters the United States comes from Mexico, and the Mexican cartels make $19 to $29 billion annually from smuggling drugs in the United States. And 60,000 people were killed in 2006 to 2012 in Mexico and along the border states from the Mexican drug cartels.
So tourism has also decreased because of all the violence. They don't want to visit Mexico, and citizens, the cartels basically run everything, and there's just so much violence. The citizens become scared, and they don't really know what to do.
And the cartels are also a
much bigger threat to the citizens than they are to tourists because they're easier targets for kidnappings and like easier to get ransoms from. And there were actually almost 2,000 kidnappings reported in Mexico just in the year 2014. And in the top right left-hand picture with the gas station on fire, that's a attack by a cartel on a popular public gas station in a populous city. And so the cartels attack public places to instill fear in the citizens and to show that they have a lot of control over Mexico. And also in the bottom right-hand corner shows the cartels shot down a military helicopter and killed 6 soldiers.
Citizens Fight Back. Militias. It's basically their little armies of citizens in Mexico and that are trying to fight back the cartels and take back control of their cities and keep their children and families safe.
So solutions to this is to legalize drugs, and if you do that, then there wouldn't be like as much trouble with like trying to smuggling the drugs, and to improve like the court system so that like we could get more people in jail and there wouldn't be violence. And if we diminish government corruption and give weapons to the citizens so that they can protect themselves from the cartels.
But legalizing narcotics is very unlikely to happen because even though it would completely destroy all the economic gain that the cartels get from selling drugs, it would just decrease the overall health of citizens in everywhere, so that's very unlikely to happen. And also, giving weapons to citizen militias is also unlikely to happen because it would only increase the violence, and it would also let the cartels have greater access to more weapons. But we think the best solution would be to find a way to reform the security sector, which is the police force, because there are many corrupt police officers, and due to their low salary, which is only about $9,000 to $10,000 a year, they're very easily influenced by bribes from the cartels, so they'll look the other way when they're doing illegal things. So finding a way to maybe have like stricter training and like performing more in-depth background checks on the police officers and increasing their pay would help to reform